Welcome to Diverse Orange. My guest today is Chef Kevin Brune. Welcome, Kevin.
How you doing, Terry?
Well, Kevin, I know that you are a chef of Cajun food. Why is that?
Well, it's interesting because it's not just Cajun food. I really kind of like to promote it as Louisiana fare, Louisiana cuisine, because one of the things that's so unique about Louisiana is it's very diverse. Cajun is like one unique part of the culture. There's Creole, there's fusion, there's a broad mix of culinary influences in Louisiana. And I kind of try to tap into all of them.
And why is that?
Yeah, the Cajun part of that is really that's really in that deep South Louisiana, more game, more rustic type of cuisine. Your Creole cuisine is usually more associated with New Orleans and the surrounding areas of New Orleans. A lot of French influence there and African influence on the Creole side. A lot of the same ingredients, different seasonings, different techniques.
And why are you concerned with Louisiana food?
Well, I was born in Lafayette, Louisiana. My entire family was born in New Orleans. Going back 3 generations, both sets of grandparents, my mom and dad, my siblings, everybody was born in New Orleans. I was born in Lafayette. So technically, I'm more Cajun than all of them.
Aha. Well, what was that like? How and you've moved to Central Florida, to Florida, which is different, I guess, in some ways. Tell us about the differences.
Yeah, well, I came to Florida pretty much right out of college. My intent was to tap into that Hollywood East myth that was happening there in the late 80s, early 90s. I was in theater and radio, TV, and film, so I wanted to pursue that career. Came here and started working for Disney, and then got into Universal from the ground floor. And even though I never really got into the radio, TV, film piece of it, I was in entertainment. I worked at Universal for over 13 years. Got into, I was the entertainment director there for a while, and really kind of learned the event piece of it, special events. And then after I left Universal, I tapped more into the event piece of the industry, and worked in various positions doing that. And then I got a job as the director of events for the American Culinary Federation. And that's sort of how the entertainment and events and food all sort of layered in together. And cooking was always a hobby and a passion for me. So I just kind of parlayed my experience at the American Culinary Federation, working with a lot of different chefs, from corporate chefs to educational chefs to private chefs. And I was responsible for setting up their locations for all their educational programming across the U.S. So I was able to really tap into some different regional cuisines and regional techniques. Just parlayed that into this.
When you were at Universal, were you part of developing their Mardi Gras special event?
I was part of the opening team and the creative team that helped launch the very first Mardi Gras. Back at that point, we did it 44 consecutive nights the very first year. And my specific task, I had a lot of jobs and a lot of responsibilities there, but my specific job was to book entertainment acts for 44 straight nights. So that was bands, everything from Tower of Power and Ziggy Marley to local acts. Pitch Blue Jam was one of the local acts that got their feet wet with us. And Buckwheat Zydeco from South Louisiana.
What were your Mardi Gras experiences as a kid growing up in Lafayette?
Oh gosh, well, actually, I really grew up on the Mississippi coast. We moved from Lafayette to Baton Rouge when I was a baby, and then I ended up going to high school in Biloxi, Mississippi. and we lived in a little town called Ocean Springs, Mississippi. But New Orleans was always home. That's where my grandparents were. That's where my aunts and uncles and cousins. So we would
Did you go there for Mardi Gras?
Oh yeah. And one of the really cool things back then. I mean, it's been a while since I've been back, but all the parents, all the families had like ladders with these seats that were built or made by mom and dad, and the kids would sit in these seats on top of these big ladders, and that's how we would be able to see over the adults to watch them.
So like a step ladder.
No, it's like a full like 6-8 foot ladder,
leaning up against the wall.
Super safe. It was the A-frame ladders, and then they built a seat box on top of it. So think kind of like a shopping cart, but on top of a ladder. Super safe.
All right.
But yeah, another one of my favorite memories. My cousin's house was on Orleans Avenue, and in New Orleans, what we refer to here as medians in between avenues and boulevards. We call them neutral grounds.
What's the word?
Neutral grounds.
Okay.
Like coffee grounds, but neutral grounds. And some of the parades would line up and stage right in front of her house on both sides of the neutral grounds. And that's how they would get everything in order, get the beads all set up on the hooks, and do all the things that they needed to do before the actual parade started. So we would get up super early, and we would go down there. We'd bring them coffee and donuts and stuff like that, and they would just pelt us with beads. I mean, we had so many beads before the parades even started. So that's one of my favorite childhood memories.
And do you find that Central Floridians accept or are interested in the culture of New Orleans and Louisiana?
Yeah, I mean, it's New Orleans has that reputation of being like the party city. It's the Mardi Gras is kind of ubiquitous in terms of having a reason to celebrate or a reason to throw a big party. Some places do it just with music and food. Other places do it with actual parades. So it depends on the really on the community. There's a lot of local Mardi Gras celebrations. Sanford's got a really big one. Leesburg has a big one. Of course, Universal has kind of become known for that.
And so I know you're doing the FusionFest Diversitastic Dining coming up in February as a kind of a Mardi Gras event, yes?
Yes, I am super stoked about that. February 18th, that's the Sunday after Mardi Gras.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going to have a nice, what I love about it is it just fits so perfectly with the Diversitastic Dining is I'm going to try to do a dish that is representative of all the different cultures. So we're going to do French Cajun version of gumbo. We're going to do Creole version of jambalaya. We're going to have a Spanish influence in like the gazpacho soup. We're going to do an Italian influence in the muffaletta sandwich. So we're going to just do it all.
Great. Are there other traditions from Louisiana, New Orleans that you missed here?
Gosh, there's another one that's a family-oriented one that we used to do, and it was New Year's Eve. Again, on the neutral grounds, it was tradition that everybody would take their Christmas trees, take all the decorations off of them, and then drag the Christmas trees out to the neutral grounds on New Year's Eve. And then we'd have these giant bonfires in the neutral ground. There's like 3, 4, 5, 6 of them just lined up all down the block. And parents, kids, everybody was just all ages would get out there and enjoy the bonfires, do fireworks. That's something I kind of miss. They don't really do it anymore for obvious reasons, but they have that version of it now. They do them on barges in the river and on the lake. So kind of keep the tradition going.
In the river?
Yeah, but nothing quite like seeing all these rows of bonfires,
Yeah.
fireworks going off everywhere.
Huh. Nice. And the neutral grounds are like grassy areas beside the street. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're our version of, what we call medians, and pretty much the
Medians.
rest of the country calls medians.
So in the middle of the road?
Yeah. So like you could have 2 lanes of traffic going this way, 2 lanes of traffic going that way, and then your neutral ground's right in the middle.
Yeah, that would be fun to see fires all up and down along there. Well,
yeah, it's kind of like almost like a little West Side Story thing. The story goes that the neutral ground was kind of in the middle between the French and the Italian communities, and they didn't always get along. So the neutral grounds were where they would go to talk and work things out.
Well, we are all about getting along here, and look forward to celebrating Louisiana culture in its many forms with you coming up February 18th. And thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have a hankering for some Louisiana food, we're located out in Avalon Park. I've got 2 places. I've got NOLA Avalon Park, and then I've got Voodoo Kitchen by NOLA, which is our ghost kitchen operation. We're in the Marketplace Food Hall out in Avalon Park. You can find us on all the socials and on the web.
Great. Well, and thank you all for watching this version of Diverse Orange. See ya.